Welcome to the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Thorn City Podcast Guy. In this episode, Nikole Brewster Bishop, founder of Elevate Him, an organization dedicated to empowering men and providing them with the tools they need to overcome life challenges. She opens up about her personal journey, including the tragic loss that's behind her mission, from going through severe life-altering events and facing multiple health challenges, continuing her work providing resources for men. Whether you're someone who's passionate about personal growth, mental health advocacy, or simply helping men, Nikole's experiences motivate you to keep pushing. This is more than just a podcast. It's an opportunity to be inspired, gain insights, and join the conversation today. Thorn City Podcast Guy, let's go. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show, where we network and build connections through interviews and discussions. I'm your host, Thorn City Podcast Guy. This episode is brought to you by GMP Podcast Group. Make sure you visit thorncitysyndicate.com. Click the link at the top. Visit my fan page now. I got a fan page through Fan List. A couple episodes ago, I had Pat Chung on. He's the founder of Fans List, and so I have a fan page there now. You can leave audio messages, text messages. You can leave tips. And I have some perks I'm working on, so check that out. But today I have a special guest in the spotlight, my friend Nikole Brewster. Nikole Bishop.
Yeah.
Do you use the Brewster still?
Yeah, just because I kind of business. Yeah.
So Nikole Brewster Bishop, how you doing? Good. Thanks for coming. Yeah. So it's been a minute. We got to get you back in here. Yeah.
It's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah, you did it. You can do it again. Yep. So Nikole has Elevate Him in the Elevate Him podcast that she says I tricked her into starting.
You did. You sure did. I'm like, I'm going to be on the show. What?
You're on my show now.
I am now.
But I didn't even have a
Circled.
show. I didn't even have a show then.
We manifested. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and your background and what led you to work in the suicide awareness.
Well, I've been here in Portland, born and raised, basically, but I moved around a lot growing up. So I got to see different parts of, the country. And when I came back to Portland, and it was me and my brother and my mom and my dad, and they were obviously separated, but just growing up here, and basically my brother had gotten into some trouble, and I kind of saw him do things. And so as I'm growing up and kind of doing my own thing as well, there was some time separated, but we were super, super close. And the main reason why I started Elevate Him, which is very dear to my heart, is suicide prevention, because he had committed about 13 years ago now. We just went over the anniversary in March. So it still affects me a lot, but at the end of the day, to spend a lot of time researching why somebody would do that, it doesn't come across like, hey, I'm just going to wake up and do that one day. It's a series of things in life and challenges, and I think just hopelessness. So for me, trying to find the gap in between, like a competent or crisis to competence kind of approach. And so building Elevate Him allowed men to get professional clothing for court, also for job searching, or just even building competence in general, because when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. When you do good, that's kind of what the energy of, receiving, and you're open to receiving good. So it could be a whole life change experience. And I'm just very passionate about it. And we've been doing it for almost 5 years now.
5 years now. Nice. Keep trucking along. That's tight. So what are some of the core values and the mission of Elevate Him?
The mission of Elevate Him is to provide the professional clothing for men and building the confidence, building that gap, and giving them a second chance at just feeling good about life. And then just being able to, walk through those journeys, because there's different people coming from all different walks of life. We got, men who are incarcerated coming out. We got men who are in recovery, spending a lot of time working on themselves. So being a part of their journey is really cool.
So you want to empower the men.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate that. There's not a lot of programs out here, I don't think, offering men empowerment and resources to help them out. A lot of stuff for women, but not for men.
Yeah, even pets take kind of
Pets, yes.
Yeah, like the Humane Society, shout out. But I mean, it just kind of, I don't know. I think the more I did my research on like why suicide was so high in men, knowing that number was high and it was consistent. It wasn't like it did a bunch of up and down. It was a consistent number for decades, veterans being high, and it was like, dang, what is going on? And why is this number this way? And nobody's really digging into some core stuff. And what I found is mental health is definitely, there, and how you deal with that, how you navigate through that, what resources do men have to get the help that they need, saying it's okay to not be okay, and then really allowing men to have a safe space to open up, because I think that's huge. Like, closed mouths don't get fed. So kind of doing the work to helping them feel safe enough to start working on something.
Yeah. So is the suicide rate higher for men than women? It is, like drastically?
Yeah, it's every 4 out of 5 suicides are men.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's nationwide. And it's about, like I said, that's been decades. So, I mean, even our stats they're about 2 years behind. So even when the pandemic hit, in 2020, you wouldn't have gotten those stats until 2022, 2023. You know what I'm saying? Because of just how long it takes to conduct all that and piece it all together. But they have been that number for a long, long time.
Wow. So do you get any like drawback from women for wanting to help men out?
I've had a couple incidences where, and even from like another organization, just being like, hey, I know that you guys do this, what's maybe some blueprint or some advice, and not realizing that, maybe they've had an experience, or they're divorced and they're still bitter about that. There's some pushback because they're like, you need to be careful. Men are manipulators. And so, I mean, I do hear some of that, but at the end of the day, there's good men, there's bad men, and there's good women, and there's bad women, period. So we can't escape the reality, and it doesn't mean that we should shut the door on anybody who's still going through stuff. And if you really want to see change, you have to be the change. You got to allow that to happen instead of just man bashing.
Yeah.
It's like, that ain't helping. Yeah, that's just going to come full circle and, get you again, in your next relationship. So watch out, so you just got to be mindful.
Yeah. So are there any specific goals or initiatives you're excited about for Elevate Him and the future of Elevate Him? Yeah,
so I am kind of getting back into the swing of things. I've been hands-on from day one. Sometimes I feel like I'm a one-man marching band. I do all the physical suiting when they come in. I work with all the other organizations who have either partnered or heard about us, and, they send people over. There's a lot of people that have, utilized Elevate Him for dressing and stuff like that. But I had to take some time off for myself. And I think that was a really hard thing because for me, I'm such a workaholic, a go-go, and, creative and innovative and doing all these things all the time that when, a tragedy happened for me the second time. So losing my brother was a very hard one. That was very hard because there was no closure, and there still is no closure. But moving through that pain and providing a purpose, which is Elevate Him, and giving men, like I said, that safety net to, maybe change their mind if they're up against something, or maybe get some hope or whatnot. So to really take about a year for myself off of social media, basically, still doing the work behind the scenes, took a break from podcasting, took a break from public speaking, because I endured an accident in San Francisco. I got hit by a car. I got hit by 2 cars. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that I want to do moving forward with Elevate Him. I think I'm just kind of in these baby steps again, kind of like rebuilding it again.
Yeah, kind of starting over.
Yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes, but I'm still here. It's still moving.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So we're going to take our first break here and get a word from our sponsor, GMP Podcast Group. And when we come back, we'll discuss your crazy journey of 2023. Discover GMP Podcast Group Studios, located at 2406 East Burnside Street in Portland, Oregon, offering a range of podcasting packages to suit your needs, starting at just $49 per hour for your basic setup, featuring a Rodecaster Pro audio console and SM7B microphones, as well as options complete with camera operator and audio engineer expertise. Elevate your podcasting with multi-camera recording, plus we capture behind-the-scenes shots within the studio. Visit us at www.gmpodcastgroup.com and let GMP Podcast Studios be where your podcasting journey begins.
This syndicate lyricist exists. Don't blink one eye, baby, you just might miss. History in the making from the making of this. Third, I guess it's welcome back to these words. So I'ma come well like welcome back words for sure.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Thorn City Podcast Guy. I got Nikole Brewster Bishop in here. So, 2023, a lot of stuff happened. Was that when it all happened?
It all happened.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's crazy. But you know how I got started. It was pretty crazy how I got into this whole world of podcasting and connected with Justin. Helping my best friend out, going through addiction, pills and alcohol, and he was a hip-hop artist, and I wanted some music of his, and so I decided to pay for my own album and told him we're going to get in the studio and do some music. And once we got recording, I always knew he loved music, but I seen that this could be a way to get him back on track in life, and so that's what happened. We recorded some songs. We did some shows. We traveled and did some shows. We went to, I think our first show back was in Eugene. Then we did some shows here in Portland. We went to Miami and Houston and LA. So we traveled, did some shows. I needed a music video. Somebody introduced me to Justin because he's into the video production, and that's when we did the Honesty video. Into some film festivals, won a few awards. We got to travel and do some awards, or we got to travel and do some award shows or some film festivals. And shortly after the video, my buddy went and got clean. And so now he's about 7, probably getting close to 7.5 years clean now. So he's doing good. Engaged to be married, bought a house. Living the good life now. And so I'm proud of my guy. And so I got what I wanted out of it. And so then the COVID hit.
Is that still a passion for you? Do you still like music? Do you still?
I do. We do have a documentary that we're going to be putting out. I was capturing all the footage, and that's who you seen when you came in. That was that episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I like music. I have plans to get him to record some music again at some point. But I got my album, so I got something to listen to, so I'm good. So actually my intro music, that was the Welcome Back song, was one of his songs. Okay. And then the COVID hit and the music stopped, and Justin hit me up and said, let's get into podcasting. I said, let's find a place. We found this building, and we've been rocking ever since. We've been here almost a little over 4 years now.
You guys got into like the prime time too, because with COVID, it just seemed like we were all stuck.
Yeah,
right?
we were stuck. It was nothing.
We had no way of really communicating like we used to do at parties or events and things.
Yeah.
So to be able to sit and to have great conversations with people, or even just the information you have, I mean, what a cool blessing.
Yeah, whoever started that Zoom, they're millionaires now. They started. I never heard of Zoom until COVID. But yeah, so that was pretty significant event in my life growing up, helping my best friend, getting him through what he was going through and seeing him come out on the other end and really do good. So I'm proud of him. Proud of me too. So
you gotta get your flowers too, right? You gotta give yourself a pat on the back, because I think when you go through someone's journey, you're a witness, right? So
firsthand,
you get to experience some of those things, and I think being a good friend and you being a part of that, probably did something for you too. So you should, be proud of that.
Yeah, led me to hear this podcast. See, I would have never thought I'd be talking in front of a microphone on the camera. I'm such a quiet person behind the scenes, so it trips me out still. It trips some people out too.
Yeah, it trips me out because you did still trick me.
I still tricked you.
I'm not going to let you go. Now that you brought that up,
I told you to come do a show. I said you should do a show. I said you should do my show.
I had a fear of, talking in front of people. I always wanted to. I think there was always like this, I could do that. And then I would shrink, like, I can't do that. And then it wasn't until I did come in here and just share with you and Justin, and then it just was like, okay, do it. And I was like, what? Yeah. And you guys pushed me in a sense where, like, you got this and you can. And so when I did it, it was like, gosh, I did it. You guys, yeah.
Nice. So yeah, tell me about some of the significant events that occurred in 2023, and how did these events shape your journey?
It was a very rough year. So I had gotten into an accident. So I was flying back and forth to San Francisco. My fiance was down there at the time, and so I was down there a lot, working for the airline and the benefit to go. But we ended up going to the Golden Gate Park, and it was just a sunny afternoon. I was actually heading back home that afternoon because he was going to be going to work. So let's just go to the park. And we're standing outside of the vehicle. We had gotten out. He got out on one side, I got out on the other side. And I grabbed my coat out of the back seat of the car. And I'm standing there for at least a minute or two getting my coat on because it's kind of chilly up there. And so I walked around the back side of the car, and I was standing directly in front of him. And we were talking not even more than like 2 minutes. I just heard boom. And it was like a firecracker went off in my ear. And I don't recall, obviously, how far I flew or what happened, but I'm laying on the ground. I could tell that something really bad had happened. And he was holding me at the time, and then I could look over and I saw this older lady getting out of a car. And there was people stopping with their dogs and just like, can we call 911? And it was just like a panic. And I didn't feel anything. I was just in a complete shock. But there was blood coming out my mouth. So, of course, ambulance came. We both went into an ambulance and got to the hospital. And I don't even know how long I was there for, but I had like a neck brace. I was in this bed. I was separated from him. I'm supposed to be catching a flight to go home. So my kids are...
Same day?
Yeah. Yeah, I was supposed to go home that night and go to work, just back to life. And that was a different plan. So as I'm getting ready to be released from the emergency room hours later, he got checked out. I'm still in the bed. The doctor came in and she says, you're going to be okay. You're bumped and bruised. You definitely got hit. It's going to be worse in a couple days, so just bear with it. My whole collarbone was bruised and my hand was pretty messed up. The blood out my mouth was basically because I bit my cheek. But they didn't want to take any chances, so they did a full body scan. And she was like, I want you to get back home. And when you get back home, there's some things I need you to address. You need to go back and get checked. You have a brain aneurysm, a fractured back, a tumor above your kidney, and you have some lung nodules. And I just was like, what? Like, I was more hit by that information than I felt like I was by the car. And it was hit by two cars because the car meant to do a U-turn and slow down, and she sped up. So when she sped up, it was boom, compact, and us. So,
so did she hit you or she hit your car?
So the car, and then the car hit us.
Got you.
Yeah, and both of us, he went one way, I went the other. he bumped up his back pretty bad. You know, he's got a bulge in his neck and then in his tailbone because of the way he, you know, crunched down. But yeah, that was some pretty heavy information. So again, I took a couple of days down there. And then I flew home. I had a coworker come get me when I flew home. And I think it was just kind of like day by day. And I never really thought about what like a brain aneurysm was. I didn't really, you know, feel any different about it getting the information. I was
What
shocked.
is it exactly?
It's basically a blood vessel in your brain that has bulged. And in some cases, when they rupture, we see stroke. You know, people will lose abilities, verbiage, you know, motor skills, all kinds of stuff. Or depending on how big or whatnot, if they rupture, it's an automatic death. I mean, that you just can't survive it. Yeah. So knowing that those were the only two things that, you know, could possibly come of this information, it was devastating. So a couple of months went by. You know, I just kind of put it in the back of my head, like, okay, I'm fine. And then I noticed little by little I was becoming fearful. I was saying I love you a lot more to people. I was writing things down just in case. I was getting my, you know, my things in order, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just a really weird experience to do that. But then just as simple things, like I stopped going to the gym because what if I worked out too hard and it blew? You know, blow drying my hair because I have so much hair. It's like, what if it just goes off because I, you know, blew dry my hair? And what if I just die in my sleep? You know, so there was a lot of things that were starting to kind of come up for me. And then I ended up finding out that I had skin cancer. I went to an appointment just for a regular checkup and had skin cancer. So that was on my face, which I thought was interesting because if I'm going to get it anywhere, it's going to be like where I'm exposed the most. But that was hard because it was like, it was my face and I had to wear a mask at some point, but it's like I have the scar and that was hard. And then about a month after that, I ended up cutting my finger almost completely off at work. I mean, I cut it really bad. So had to leave work, go to the emergency room, get stitches. Like, I mean, it just felt like it was one thing after another. I just could not catch a break. And then I finally decided to go get the brain aneurysm, at least started to be looked at. And then I had my appointment and he said, there's only two options. Either you wait it out and nothing happens or you die. And I'm like, dang, could you tell me, you know, a little lighter? But I was like, okay, so what are my options look like if I go ahead and fix it? And he said, there's a less invasive, you know, you kind of get a wire and it depletes the whole thing, or you do a full cranium exposure and then you clamp it. So yeah, long story short, before I did all that, I ended up getting married. I got married. So the accident happened in January. I got married in February. The skin cancer happened like middle of March. My finger got cut sometime in April. It just felt like, and then I had the doctor's appointment, you know, for my checkups, and I was going physical therapy and doing all these things. And it was just exhausting. And then I started going back to work. After my time off and starting to kind of get back to normal, then I had to make the decision for what, you know, was the brain surgery that I had. And unfortunately, I didn't qualify for the less invasive. I had to have the whole thing done. So I wrote a letter, not saying goodbye, but I think becoming more at peace with whatever would happen. And are we? Oh. But yeah, then it just seemed like after that, I made the decision to have it done. I went in, they cut my head, clamped it, about an 8.5-hour surgery. I don't remember any of it. But afterwards, the healing part was pretty good. It was a pretty, I guess, normal process, you know, rest, don't do too much, pay attention to certain signs. But it wasn't until later that this emotional surge just like whooped my ass, like bad.
Jeez.
And I was not told or informed that that would happen. And so I would cry every day. My hair wasn't growing back. My skin still felt like, you know, it was just like a sore thumb. You I still wasn't feeling my best because of the physical therapy and everything. And I was still, banged up, PTSD from the whole, I could still see parts of that. I'm newly married, but we're living in 2 different states for a little bit while he finished work and had his stuff going on. So it was a lot. My son had something happen in his personal life that affected the family. Kids are getting older, so they don't need me anymore. And here I'm writing off my, I'm writing my will, like it was tough. And I think emotionally it just really rocked my world. But I always showed up for Elevate Him. Even when I didn't feel up to it, I still showed up. But that's when I backed off from a lot of stuff, social media and platforms, and I had to.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's a lot, but you're still here. So I'm glad you're here to be able to share your story with me here on my show. So yeah, thank you for that. We're going to take another break, get a message from other sponsor, Thorn City Syndicate, the management team. And when we come back, we'll discuss some of your insights on Elevate Him, the podcast, and what else you got going on. Let's do it. Introducing Thorn City Syndicate Management, your solution for brand management, social media promotions, digital content distribution, and podcast production. From shaping engaging content that resonates with your audience to amplifying your brand's reach through podcasting. We're your partners in driving success. We offer free strategy sessions and leverage our recording studio and personalized strategies to establish an online presence. Your brand's journey to the top starts with Thorn City Syndicate Management, where innovation meets results. Contact us now at www.thorncitysyndicate.com to embark on the future path of transforming your brand's future.
This syndicate lyricist exists. Don't blink one eye, baby, you just might miss. History in the making from the making of this. Third, I guess it's welcome back to these words. So I'ma come well like welcome backwards for sure. Yeah.
Oh, welcome back to the Spotlight Show. Ooh, that's crazy. But let's talk about some of the good stuff that came out of it. Yeah. Can you elaborate on some of the vision and current initiatives of Elevate Him, and what specific resources and support systems do you offer men?
Okay, so my vision has always been big with this. It's a passion of mine. Again, a pain to purpose approach. So I see big things like I see at a men's conference. I've talked about it lightly before as just a goal, bringing men together, having those conversations, and maybe even kind of doing like a study. Like if I had 100 men in a room and I asked them to write down 3 things that they felt was important when it comes to support, whether it be friends and family or even a community, what does that look like? And then kind of see the pocket in which more of those line up. So if we got like the 100 men and let's say 80 of them say they feel they need more resources, or they need more, I don't know, kind of off the top of my head, like a safe space, or they want to feel more vulnerable, or they wish they had more things. And then we can kind of conduct to see, okay, where we can put our energy into this to make this more sufficient, because if that's a need, we need to fill that need. So I want to do a conference. I kind of want to move that. Of course, with anything, you want to grow. I feel like I've done a really good job managing and handling everything this far. I love being a part of the journey and getting the emails and, even have them come on the show and sharing their testimony. So really kind of growing that as well. I think it's important to learn from one another, getting that information out there, or even inspiring somebody. I feel like that's what podcast is all about. That's what social media, it should be about, right? Some people be using it on some way different stuff, but it should be for positive stuff. Getting those testimonies, inspiring each other, being creative and being a really tight community, helping one another. So I got goals to just kind of grow in different areas. And, I always said that I wanted this to be a mustard seed. So could this be planted in San Francisco? Could this be something up in Seattle? Because if you look at different communities or different, parts of other states, they all have the same kind of pandemic within, which we see addiction. We're seeing suicide is not exempt where it's at. You know what I'm saying? So it's still very much needed in other communities. So that's a big goal, but I definitely feel like it can be done with the right people and just, again, building my muscles and getting me back to be able to, to do more. So that's kind of my top three,
Right. So how do we get you back going with the Elevate Him podcast? And how does that contribute to your mission of empowering men and raising suicide awareness?
Well, I do have a lineup. I do have some people that have reached out because I've kind of felt like, okay, you gotta make a decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is only gonna sustain itself for so long if you're not in it. And I was fearful of like letting it go, but then I thought, everything has its time, so maybe it was just my time. And then it just seemed like, I tell you what, I get a phone call or something would come in the mail, or like somebody comes through and says, I got this great idea. And all of a sudden it's like, I can't get out of this. I just can't. It is what it is, and we're in it to win it. So, so I guess for me, just being able to have the platforms and being able to have people come and share stories, ideas, grow, have people hear the stories, even sponsors, come up with different, partnerships. I think it's just always good content. I think it's great to hear how this has changed someone's life or how this has impacted them in a healthy way, so they can start, again, a positive journey. So I feel like it's a great way to empower people. And I think, again, creating hope. Yeah. So we're looking at suicide being reduced. I in a perfect world, it wouldn't even exist. But the reality of it is it does. It's, I have a brother, I have a father, I have a husband, I have, a son. It affects every man if these numbers continue to stay high and we don't have the support system for them. So it's not going to go away, but we can change and work it out. Mm-hmm. So again, I think it's huge to have those empowerment times and those opportunities. So
nice. So what else you got going on?
So right now, I'm remodeling some of the ambiance in the building, just kind of making some changes. I think, like, for me, it's all about when I'm going through something personally, I want to be able to pour out, a change. And I want to be able to show, like, this didn't kill me, but I got to have some change in here. So if I'm looking at the same walls and the same way that it looks, it's just going to feel the same. So I'm going into my office now like, we're going to do this. We're going to add this. I want to kind of come back with that fire and that spark that's going to allow just to be better. And then I want to do kind of like a soft grand opening, which is people that I do work with, you guys and just different community partners. I'm going to have a bunch of people in Portland that, know about us, that are, like I said, sending their clients over. The guys in the state penitentiary, are coming home, and now they have an outlet and a resource. So I've been suiting a lot of people that way. So yeah, just kind of rebranding it, rebuilding it within myself, getting out there, networking again, going to different events. I just went to an event the other night and met some really cool people that I should have met the first time. You know what I mean? But I had to go through so many other hoops in this industry to now meet the people that I need. But if I didn't show up, and I think about this now, like, if I didn't show up to these things because I felt some type of way, I'm not feeling confident, or I don't want to because I'm tired, all the things that I'm missing out on, the opportunities. So now I'm like, I'm going to start showing up. I'm going to start going to things that I'm invited to. I got some speaking things coming up. So again, just kind of building my muscle.
Yeah. That's tight. So why is advocating for mental health and men's empowerment so important to you? And how can listeners get involved with you to support your mission?
Yeah. I think because it affected me personally, and I think sometimes we don't know how something is. We can't really relate. People try to with their best abilities, and I think that's nice. I think that's kindness. But you don't know until you know what something feels like. And I think for me, empowering men who are on the breaking point, or, getting a real second chance. When you talk about rehabilitation and you come home after a stretch and you got denied for this, you got denied for that, you know what I mean? And you got all these no's, that's going to only lead that person back into being disruptive. Yeah, I'm going back because that's the only thing that accepted me and gave me a yeah. So I think for me, it's just kind of letting this passion to really empower on the ways that, I feel are important. And I've just done the homework. If you know that there's a problem and you don't want to fix the problem, you're the problem.
You're the problem, man.
You're the problem. Period. I mean, that's just the way it is. But if you know that there's a problem and you can be a helping hand by volunteering, you can be a helping hand by, telling, your coworker who maybe got some, networking possibilities. If you know somebody who's in funding, and loves the mission and vision of Elevate Him, these are the ways that you can give back so we can become bigger, we can become stronger in helping these men, again, self-advocate, you know what I'm saying? And we can see the reduction in suicide.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So how do people get involved? How do they contact you?
All my socials, I'm still running them very lightly, posting a picture here and there. But we do have our Instagram, elevate.him, and then we have Facebook, of course, Elevate Him. We have this amazing opportunity to sit here with like-minded people and share their testimony. So we do have the podcast that's going to be kind of up and coming. And I post some flyers, but I really want to start getting some lists for volunteers. Because, again, with the change of the dynamic of the space that we have, putting together the conference, there's going to be a lot of need for hands and a lot of people who feel like they want to get involved. This is a great mission and vision, and I want it to be fun, too. I'm not trying to fix nobody. The fixing has to be you.
Yeah.
But to give you the tools in your toolbox to accommodate what you want to fix and, do, then that needs to be there. So I just need people to reach out via email. It's all on my, website, which is elevatehimnow.org. Emails on there, phone numbers on there, locations on there. We're still doing by appointment because each person that has their appointment, that's their time. And nobody is ever going to feel like they're a number. You're not going to be in an office waiting for 5 hours just for them to give you a no. Each space that is given is really your time. And that's where we go over resources and people that we connect with and partner with. That's where we talk about the podcast for them to share. That's where we get the suits and the professional clothing. I mean, they come from the whole transformation is off the hook. So if you go and you see on the website or all the socials, you can see those before and after pictures, and they're dope. And they carry themselves differently. They just have their handshake, their just whole body, language is different. So it's really cool to see that. So.
I see you elevated them.
That's right.
No, that's tight. Well, I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Keeping going through all the madness and not giving up and keep pushing.
Me as well.
And you got some support here. Nice. Yes. Nice. Well, I'd like to encourage my listeners to explore their passions, embrace innovation, and pursue entrepreneurship in their own unique ways. Thanks for joining us. Explore the power of networking and find inspiration by following me at Thorn City Podcast Guy. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button to be the first to know about the new releases, bonus episodes, and exciting updates. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes of the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show as we continue to highlight individuals, businesses, brands, and podcasters. And don't forget to subscribe to the Thorn City Podcast Guy YouTube channel. Follow at Thorn City Syndicate, the management team, and at GMP Podcast Group, the production team. And be sure to drop by www.thorncitysyndicate.com. Schedule your free strategy sessions. Thorn City Podcast Guy, I'll at your boy. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Little rusty, but
What man? What power? Hoodoo.
I appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode of the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show, where we network and build connections, interviews, and discussions. Until next time, I like your boy, Thorn City Podcast Guy. I'm out.
You remind me of a man.